Hey guys, TrilogyVenus here, and today I'm going to be talking about Pluto conjunct Venus in Synastry. So right off the bat, I do want to say that I feel like Venus in the eighth house in Synastry is very similar, if not the same, as Pluto conjunct Venus in Synastry. Just because the eighth house can represent, all the Plutonic themes. So someone's Venus coming into someone's eighth house, I feel like it's a similar energy to Pluto conjunct Venus. Also, this can also apply if your Pluto is at a degree that matches someone's Venus sign. Meaning, if you have Pluto at 27 degrees, which is a Gemini degree, and someone has their Venus in Gemini, then that's still considered a conjunction. So this information would still apply. So Pluto is going to be very obsessed with Venus right off the bat. They may not say anything. It may be, Pluto watches Venus for a little while before they approach her. But they will be initially really physically attracted to Venus. Venus does represent the body in astrology. So Pluto represents obsession, what can, make them feel not only like sexual obsession, but also emotional obsession as well. However the Venus person looks could ignite some type of emotional response, a deep emotional response um to that energy. So, Venus could initially feel, like watching just to see. They could be admiring Venus from afar until they finally get the, the courage to possibly speak to that person. Now, if they watch Venus for long enough and they feel like, you know, maybe they won't be able to get Venus or something of that nature, then they may not even approach Venus. But if they feel like they have an opportunity to get Venus, then they'll approach Venus. But the thing about this is Venus is a very superficial sign. So Venus does not represent deep emotions. It's, the ruler of Taurus and Libra, which is kind of a more superficial energy. That's earth and air energy, no water present. Not saying these signs can't feel emotions, but they're not really known for their deep emotions. So Venus will be attracted to on a surface level the intensity of Pluto. They could, easily find Pluto to be very mysterious, very attractive. Like it's something about them that they want to, kind of explore as well. They can feel that energy from off them. Pluto is a very powerful planet. Scorpio energy is very powerful in itself. So Venus could feel like this person is very powerful, and the fact that that powerful person is attracted to them is something that they, they would kind of be interested in knowing. The thing about this is while they're looking at Pluto from a superficial, perspective, Pluto's like kind of falling in love with that energy. So it's kind of like, Venus is like, yeah, like Pluto's, he's so mysterious. He's so, whatever, or she's so mysterious, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Pluto's like, oh my God, I think I'm falling in love with this person, and da, 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 especially if there's other aspects to the Pluto, especially like Jupiter. It's like, if someone's Jupiter is conjuncture Pluto and you have Pluto conjunct Venus, like with them as well, remember Jupiter expands everything that it touches. So if it touches someone's Pluto, it's literally their Pluto energy like times three or times four. It's like the energy's tripled when Jupiter touches it. So it's like that regular obsession that they could have had now is multiplied if it's other, aspects touching the Pluto as well. Especially because I know like Venus is never more than two signs away from the sun. So, if your sun signs also the same sign as your Venus and someone's Pluto is conjunct your Venus and your sun, the sun literally shines light on whatever it touches. So it's like that Pluto energy would be kind of out there in the open. And so that would kind of amplify that as well. The sun energizes whatever it touches as well. So it would bring energy to that Pluto as well as your Venus. So that's why I say, like, if it's multiple, aspects to someone's Pluto, it intensifies the energy. And so over time, Pluto could feel like while they're falling in love with Venus, Venus is still kind of like, in a superficial, energy. Venus could be like, we kicking it, we having fun, da 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 da. But Pluto's like, I'm in love with you. But you know what I'm saying? And so they'll, be able to sense that Venus is not really kind of like on the same level with them as far as emotional wise. And so this is when Pluto will start kind of like playing these little games. If you're familiar with Scorpio energy, Scorpio energy is well known for playing a lot of games with people in order to test their love, test their loyalty, things like that. So Pluto will begin to kind of like do little things in order to kind of get Venus's attention because in their head they feel like this is what will make Venus kind of fall for them. It's like, well, if I do this, if I do that, people like on YouTube, they have the videos of like, well, if you kind of ignore a female for 24 hours, then she'll wonder what's going on with you, and then she'll be worried, and then she'll start doing this and this. Like, this is the kind of stuff that'll be going on in Pluto's head. They'll be like, okay, well, maybe I gotta do this to get, what I'm saying, these emotions out of her. Maybe I gotta do that. Maybe I gotta do this. Maybe I gotta do that. And the more that Venus resists, or the more that Venus does not fall into whatever it is that Pluto is trying to do, it's like the harder Pluto will go. And so this is when the connection can become like, kind of destructive, sometimes even traumatizing, just because the lengths that Pluto is willing to go in order to get Venus's attention, it will be like, what I'm saying, shocking to Venus, because Venus is like, okay, you doing too much. Like, why are you doing all of this? Why are you doing all that? But Pluto is all about control. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that they're in love with Venus, or they have these deep emotions, deep feelings for Venus, and Venus is not reciprocating, it's like they're not in control because Venus is not doing what it is that they want Venus to do. And so when they're not in control, this is when they start doing all those crazy things. Now, if Venus is familiar with Scorpio energy, then, you know, they can see it and be like, oh, okay, I know why they're doing that. It's because they're jealous, or it's because of this or that. You know what I'm saying? Because if Venus has some type of Scorpio energy, that they're familiar with, then they could see the reasoning and the logic behind why Pluto is doing this particular thing. But if Venus does not have, like, Pluto placements, then they can look at it as, very extreme. It's just like, why you know what I'm saying? It could be coming from a place of misunderstanding. It's like, I'm not getting why you're doing this or why you're doing that, or, or whatever. And this could make Venus kind of disconnect from the situation and leave the situation feeling traumatized, because it's like, it could have, like I said, Pluto could be doing all kind of crazy stuff, and they're like, you doing like a lot, like it don't take all of this. This is very unnecessary, like for you to be doing this, but it's all about control with Pluto. The crazy thing about it is Pluto is obsessed with Venus's natural energy. That means that even if Venus decided to get on Pluto's level and say, hey, I'm going to be in love with Pluto like Pluto's in love with me. If they decided to get on that level with Pluto, Pluto wouldn't even be interested in them. Because, mind you, it's a conjunction. So, whatever energy Venus is in when they meet Venus, this is the energy that they're obsessed with. This is the energy that they're in love with. So, the minute Venus tries to do something different, they're no longer in their natural energy. And then next thing you know, Pluto's not even attracted to them. And this is why this is this is like a crazy kind of a crazy kind of thing, but it's like Pluto don't realize it. Or maybe they do. But it's all about the chase with Pluto. It's literally all about the chase. Because the minute that Pluto is able to actually get Venus is when they actually don't want her anymore. And that's the crazy part. That's why this connection can be very chaotic, confusing, like it can take you through a lot of depths and things like that just because Pluto energy is all about transformation. So at some point, one person or both people could have experienced some type of transformation in relation to like self value and rejection and things like that. Just because, like I said, the constant games, because don't get it twisted, Venus can definitely play some games as well, especially if they can recognize that Pluto is trying to do things to control them. Venus could be like, okay, like I can't be controlled, so this is what I'm going to do. And of course, that's going to rev Pluto up even more. That's why it can become like a kind of a game for both people, like back and forth, because you know what I'm saying? One person wants to control the other. One person does not want to be controlled. One person doesn't like that. What the other person is so intense. It's like, why you can't be just regular? Like, why we can't just, you know what I'm saying, have a regular situation where I love you how I love you and you love me how you love me, but without all the extra, you know what I'm saying? Without all the extra intensity, without all the extra, you doing all this extra stuff for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because the crazy thing about it is Venus could actually, you know what I'm saying, be loyal and actually love Pluto, but it's not going to be in the way that Pluto feels like it should be. And that's where, the games and stuff come from. The sexual connection can be very strong just because Venus is a feminine energy. Even if Venus is a man, Venus is more of the passive aggressive energy. And of course, Pluto is, the ruler of Scorpio, which is, the masculine sign of the zodiac. It's the masculine water sign. So, you know, Pluto could like the fact that, like, especially like sexually, that Pluto dominates her and things like that. But it's like, it's the extra stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the extra stuff that Venus could feel like they can't deal with. And like I said, Venus could look at it from a perspective of, everything's good. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you just have to bring all this intensity. You have to bring all this, you know what I'm saying? All this extra, all this underworld darkness into this situation for what? You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, it can leave, one person or both people with scars, especially if Pluto is not able to get Venus. It can leave Pluto with a lot of resentment. You know what I'm saying? You know how they say you love somebody so much you can hate them. It can like be something like that to where Pluto gets to a point to where like they have some resentment towards Venus because they were not able to capture Venus. And then Venus could have some type of, issue with Pluto because whatever it was that Pluto was doing to try to, win the game or, you know what I'm saying, get the upper hand, it could have been something destructive to Venus emotionally or physically or whatever. So this is why a lot of times these people cannot be friends because there's, a lot of underlying tension due to whatever they experience with each other during the connection. But like I said, it could be transformative as well. Just depends on, of course, the people, the aspects, whatever else is going on, the maturity of both people and things like that. But that's what I have for you guys. See you guys